All right, I'm live. I'm live. Y'all know what it is. All right, cool. So I know this is a smaller channel. It's my fitness channel, so I usually won't have people dive in, off the jump. But let's get into this. So today's topic that I want to cover is I'm going to talk about building muscle. I'm going to talk about losing muscle. I'm going to talk about the calories that are required in order to make all this happen. Now, before diving into the actual topic of muscle, I do want to touch on what I'm going to be doing for this channel. So for this channel particularly, I'm looking to make sure I get in with the live streams, just like I'm doing with my political channel. But of course, this will be on a fitness level. And I'm basically looking to cover it in a similar fashion. So of course, fitness doesn't have stories and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I'll dive into different topics that might be relevant at the time. And I'll also dive into just facts and information related to fitness just to help you get closer to your goals. So with that being said, I'm going to make some more announcements on how often I'm going to broadcast and stream live and stuff like that. That'll come in the near future. I'm going to make that decision within a few days and give, a schedule out somewhere, maybe on my political channel. But diving into the topic at hand, which I want to cover, which is actually building muscle, right? So if you're looking at building muscle for male or female, in order to make that happen, you must look into supplying enough calories to where your body is within a caloric surplus. So now you're probably asking, what's a caloric surplus? The caloric surplus is when you're within an area where you are above your BMR or above the area where your body's required to just maintain their calories. All right. So if that doesn't make sense, all you got to do is dive into your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. What that is how many calories does your body burn in a 24-hour period while at rest, okay? Once you determine that number can fluctuate higher or lower depending on how much physical activity is actually done throughout the day. Once you get that number, if you're looking to build muscle, in order to make that happen, you're going to look to actually consume more calories than what that number is. Now, you don't want to go 20 calories above, 30 calories above. You want to dip into some areas that are maybe 100 calories more than your BMR, 200 calories more. And then there's some guys that aren't really that bothered about storing extra fat. They can dive into 300, maybe even 400 calories more than what their BMR actually says. That usually equates to muscles growing, okay? When you are within a caloric deficit, you're going to make it far more difficult for your body to actually sustain, deal with its normal daily activities, and also manage and build muscle, okay? That's not going to be very likely if your calories just aren't where they're supposed to be. So if you're looking to build muscle, in order to make that happen, you must consume more calories than the BMR. So let's talk about what type of calories are needed or necessary in order to make this happen. All right, cool. So now you're probably thinking about, okay, calories and where they're coming from. Thinking in terms of what types of calories is a good way to think. It's definitely the end result on how you want to go about building muscle, knowing exactly what types of calories are coming from what types of foods. But what will eventually end up being the case is that you're not going to always worry with every single food that's consumed if the goal is to build muscle. The reason being is in order for you to hit certain caloric amounts, certain foods will be required. So for example, if my BMR is 2000 and I need to build muscle, I need to consume more calories than 2000. It is going to be very difficult for me to consume 2000 plus calories with salads, grilled chicken, and grilled fish. I would be eating mountains and mountains of food. So in order to minimize all of that extra eating, I could simply eat or consume a higher calorie food, and that would usually equate to the calories needed, and I'll still manage to build muscle. Now, I consumed a food that wasn't necessarily the most healthiest thing, but still, the way that your body works is it can manage and deal with something that's a little bit outside of the diet. Of course, you don't want to dive into a bunch of like burgers, fries, ice cream, and high calorie foods looking to build muscle. You want to simply dive into different areas at certain points of the day or maybe certain times of the week. So that's very, very critical in terms of thinking about building muscle and what foods are actually required. Now, I'm gonna just throw some information out there. Some people may or may go for it because you may or may not be allergic to foods, or that might not be your favorite. But you can always consume things like breads, pastas, rice. All of these things are somewhat necessary if you're looking to build muscle. They'll usually help you bounce those extra calories up that you usually can't, hitting those caloric points that you usually can't hit with your salads and grilled chicken. You'll find that consuming things like brown rice, wheat bread, and things along those lines will help you get to those points, okay? So that's looking to build muscle. Now, so now you have an idea of the foods, you have an idea of the calories, you need more than the BMR, you know that the foods that you choose need to be calorie dense, okay? You'll find that the salads might not lead to as much muscle building as you're probably looking for. So dive into your salads here and there throughout the day. But again, if you're looking to build muscle, dipping into a food that's higher in calories might equate to a better result, okay? Let's dive into losing muscle, all right? So losing muscle, let's talk about the myths. So before we get it going, we got to dive into the myths, because the myths help debunk a lot of questions that might come up during the time that I'm actually speaking. The myth about losing muscle throughout the day or hourly or after so many hours, it's not real, okay? After they've done further research and study, they've now determined that if you go 3 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours without consuming any foods or any calories, for a long time, many people were left to believe, because of books and things like that that were actually doctored up and put on the shelves, put in the market, people were left to believe that you will actually lose muscle if you go for that long of a period of time. But after further research and studies were done, we now found that it takes up to, I believe, 72 hours before the body will actually lose any kind of muscle. And we're talking about 72 hours with no food and no water, okay? So that definitely takes a long time and it requires a lot. We're talking about nothing. So with that being said, now you're gonna see a lot of people, as you go through your little journey or whatever, and you say, hey, I'm looking to build as much muscle as possible, you might run into a lot of people that go for a period of time, 3 hours, 4 hours, especially your bodybuilders, and they're gonna swear up and down that they are losing muscle, they're getting smaller. That is not actually true, okay? There is something called glycogen, which is stored in the muscles. It's almost like reserves, okay? It's extra energy stores for you to utilize when the body needs. Those glycogen stores can fluctuate higher and lower at different amounts. You might notice that throughout the day, you could gain 2, 3, 4 pounds. You might lose 2, 3, 4 pounds. That's usually glycogen stores that are fluctuating higher and lower throughout the day, depending on what type of physical activity you're doing and also what or how many calories you're consuming. So when you're looking at losing muscle, there's certain things that have to be in effect in order to really make it happen. It's not as easy as people make it out to be. People like to really think that the moment they go 6, 7, 8 hours without eating, they're going to immediately start losing their gains. It's not true. It's not the case. You'll find the moment you start eating again, drinking water, and if you end up in the gym, you'll easily bounce right back and regain the size that you once upon a time lost just a few days ago, okay? It happens almost overnight. So when it comes down to actually losing muscle, do not be scared of going long periods of time without eating any food. And you might be convinced to think that, hey, look, I'm gonna lose all what I've worked so hard for. It's not true, okay? You can look it up, check the research. You'll find that all of this information is newer studies. And some of the things you may have on your mind and may remember from maybe back in high school or some previous things that you did happens to be older information that they did different studies and research on them. But after new ones have come out, they've now debunked, after newer technology, they've debunked a lot of different things, okay? So throughout the day, in order to build muscle, you're gonna hit your BMR and more. You're gonna focus on higher calorie foods. If you're looking to minimize the loss of muscle, don't be afraid if you go 6, 8, 10, 12 hours without eating. Usually it's around 72 hours before the body really loses muscle. And that's after it hasn't had any water or food for that extended period of time. You also might go through an experience where people also say, what about cardio? Can cardiovascular activity equate to muscle loss? That's another big question that usually comes up. You might find, hey, I'm in the gym doing cardio, I'm running for, I don't know, let's say 2 hours straight, an hour straight. Will I lose muscle in a shorter amount of time than the 72-hour mark that I just mentioned? Because that 72 hours is if I just say, hey, I'm not going to eat or consume any water anymore. What happens when I actually do physical activity? Will I speed up that process? Now, yes and no, okay? And I say yes because it does matter how much physical activity you do. If you do find yourself going 4 or 5 hours doing very extensive, high intensity physical activity, you will find that your chances of actually losing muscle will be shorter than the 72-hour mark that I just mentioned. Reason being is because some of the calories that you have in your body, if you don't do exercise, that's the same calories your body is going to utilize for the next so many hours before it decides that it's completely out. So if you were to get in the gym and you start working out really, really, really hard, all of the extra energy that your body has consumed throughout the day, all of the extra energy that your body has stored is now going to be diminished within the physical activity. And after that physical activity, you could only imagine that the time that you're going to hit where your body says, hey, we're completely out and we now need to dig into muscle stores, that would come a lot sooner than the 72-hour mark that I just mentioned. So when you consider losing muscle, speeding up the process could definitely take place if you were to add physical activity to the equation. And definitely if it's an extensive amount of time that you're doing the physical activity for. And it's also going to happen if you're not eating enough calories and also getting in and doing that same physical activity. It is what it is. It's just how the body works. All right. Things have definitely changed over time since new research and study has now shown, different evidence of how things actually work within the body. All right, next one. So nutrition, when it comes down to nutrition, how does that affect you in terms of losing muscle? Okay, so when we talk about are there any foods that can be consumed that someone might say, hey, if I eat that food, I'll lose muscle, or if I eat that food, I'll lose muscle. So at the end of the day, a calorie is a calorie. All right, let's look at it just like that. Calorie is a calorie. So there aren't any specific foods that's actually going to cause you to lose muscle. Most foods that you consume would actually leave you in a position where you can generate muscle. And that reason being is because the foods that you consume will be calorie dense, right? So when you look at a specific food, somebody might look at a salad. They say, well, that's a salad. And I think salads aren't the greatest for building muscle. I feel and think that, I'm going to need my grilled chicken. I'm going to need my burgers. I'm going to need my, the stuff that's more caloric dense. So just as I explained earlier in this video, the salads can get you big muscles, right? They can. It just, not only will it take longer, but it will definitely be harder for your body to actually get to that point. Now, what you will find yourself doing, because there's a caloric amount that you need to hit in order for you to build muscle. And you can hit that caloric amount with salad. What will end up happening is the amount of salad that is actually consumed is going to be massive, okay? A massive amount of salad is going to equate to what a little itty bitty hamburger could actually do for you. Now, which one should you choose? You could go between the two. You just don't want to find yourself dipping too deep into the one that's not so healthy, which would be your hamburger, okay? So you're looking at the hamburger situation and you're looking at the salad situation. Nobody wants to really stuff themselves and fill an over-bloated belly. So you'll have times, let's say throughout the day, depending on what you have going on, or it could be casually throughout the week, once or twice, maybe just the weekends, that you actually find yourself consuming something like a hamburger, French fries, things that are a little outside of the diet. And those things are necessary not to only build muscle, but it'll also help you to burn body fat. Also, there are periods and times where your body will also hit plateaus. And when it actually hits a plateau, you're going to find that that plateau can only be you can only push through that plateau if you reset your body's metabolism. And for a lot of people, they fail to understand that in order to reset the metabolism, what's required is usually a cheat meal. a meal that's a little outside of their norm. It's giving your body what's necessary in order to keep it going to the next level. So not only are the cheat meals valuable during fat burning process, but it's also necessary if you were looking to build muscle and stay as lean as possible. All right, because you can consume pretty lean meals throughout the day and actually end up not losing as much muscle as someone that completely just dips and dives into salads all day. All right, so you want to make sure that if you're consuming these salads throughout the day, you're going to make sure those calories dip into higher numbers, and then usually that'll equate to you actually building muscle and also maintaining a more leaner physique instead of diving into like burgers, fries, hot dogs, burgers, fries, hot dogs, burgers, fries, hot dogs, ice cream, and then the next day you do salads. Yes, you're gonna grow. Those foods do make you grow, and a lot faster than the salad, but of course you're gonna store much more body fat in that situation outside of just consuming the salads. All right, it is what it is. The new research and studies, I love it because the fitness industry and how things have played out for a long time is now officially changing, and some people are still left behind. So part of even the reason why I created the channel is just to bring more people up to speed on how things are actually working nowadays in fitness. And I would just want them to notice the difference. It's very different than what they learned with like, just consume fruits, vegetables, and salads, and then you magically will lose weight. But it's a lot more to it. It's a lot about how many calories you consume, how much energy is actually burned, what types of calories are actually coming in, how often are they coming in. Things like that are usually the things that you would focus on when it comes down to hitting these goals. I think I'm gonna get ready to finish up this show. Oh, I got Jericho in here. Yeah, Jericho, you see how slow it is, man? I got two people in the building. It is what it is. It's a lot smaller channel, but I needed to drop this one because my fitness channel been moving a little slow. I just been, really, I mean, if you check the political channel, I'm caught up on the political side. But I didn't want this channel to lose the traction. I still been gaining a lot of subscribers. I think I'm at 232 right now. So that's a lot more than where I started. So I'm trying to keep this going. I'm gonna finish up. I don't know if you just got in or what, but I'm gonna finish. Yeah. I see you. Thank you for the knowledge. I will apply. Yeah, yo, JG, listen. I'm dropping bombs, man, for free, for free. I get no super chats here. I do have my ability to set up my links, so I could always get the donations to actually go through. And it is what it is. I'm not really in it for the money. If the money comes, that'd be great. But I'm in this to help change people. Like I tell everybody out there, I do this for people to be better conditioned. All right. I don't care who you are, what size you are, what shape you're actually in. I just want everybody to be conditioned. There's people that, whatever their size is, there's football players that are properly conditioned and they could run around the block 3-4 times and back. There's guys that are as skinny as Brett Favre that are, conditioned. So that's the main goal that I'm trying to push for what I'm trying to do. I'm not in this for like, everybody needs a six-pack. Everybody needs to be cut. Everybody needs to be fit. I'm not in it for that. There's people who could be comfortable in their skin, but if they need to grab a kid from a burning building and run up 5 flights of stairs and back down to get another one, they have no problem with that, regardless of the size of the individual. Football players speak for my point every single day. They're out there comfortable in the size and body that they are, but they actually don't get categorized in this position of being this unhealthy, unable to do anything type of individual. They out there running up and down that field just like everybody else is. So that's the point that I push with my whole physical fitness, my channel, everything related to what I'm doing here. It's not about this six-pack thing, everybody big. It's not that. It's I need everybody to be conditioned so when a state of emergency pops off, everybody can, like I said, run through that burning building, up 3-4 flights of stairs, grab a screaming baby, bring them back down, and go back in and do it again. That's why we get in the gym. But I'm gonna have to get up off this one. It's getting long, man. I didn't know it was gonna even go out this long. But just for everybody that just got in, I got 3 people in the house. Special announcement: I will be going live for my fitness channel. I will be going live. I'm gonna give y'all more announcements on when it'll actually be. I'm gonna have some dates and times, and it's gonna be just like my political channel. If there are any current events going on at the moment, then I'll definitely cover that within the channel. Usually there isn't much in fitness. It's not like politics. But if there's any other facts and information that I need to reveal, maybe new research, new studies, things that have just been uncovered, all of that information is what I want to drop during my live stream, and also just share any questions or anything that come through. But it is what it is. JG, I'm going to see you on my political joint. Yo, Jericho, please check me out. I'm going on with Uber Guy tomorrow on Hood Conservatives channel. It's gonna be lit, bro. Lit. It's me and Uber Guy. I don't know what to say or think. I got the invitation yesterday, and I was like, wow, I can't believe this man made the connection. So we're gonna be connected. I definitely, I shout out a little promotion thing on my community tab. So anybody could go in, check it out, hit the reminder bell if needed. But yeah, bro, that one is going to be lit. I want to say it's like 7:30. Yeah, yo, please come through, because it's going to be, oh, man. It's never, I was saying it for a long time. That has never, ever, ever really happened, to where they had someone like myself and someone like Uber Guy actually come in on one collabo, just like that. And from what I heard, the guy that's running it, his name is Hood Conservative. What I heard is he's actually going to have me and Uber Guy go in for the first hour. And then the second hour, I believe he's going to bring 2 other guests in. I want to say it's the guys that he normally brings in. If you're familiar with Hood Conservative and how he runs his channel, he usually has about 4 people that he has on his live streams on a regular. Usually it's like every Sunday. I believe those are going to be the same individuals coming in on this live. So it's going to be lit. But they're going to come in during that second hour. And then I know the first hour is just going to be me, Uber Guy, and Hood Conservative just going at it about the liberals, their BS, and everything else that they have going on. But it is what it is, man. JG, much love. Greatly appreciated. I'm going to get off this one. Y'all know what it is, man. I'm out.